iOS 18.2 drops a huge number of new features on the iPhone. The update, which is expected on Monday, expands the capabilities of Apple Intelligence, with plenty of other goodies for everyone else too. Let's dive in. Apple Intelligence is the set of AI features that run on the iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 16 models, in addition to various newer Macs and iPads. The second round of the most anticipated Apple Intelligence features come in 18.2. I covered them in depth in this video here, but I'll quickly run through them again. Image Playground lets you create AI images from scratch. It's a standalone app, and it's also integrated inside Messages. You can create images based on images in your library, or people you know, or from scratch using these easy-to-use tappable buttons, or by typing in a description. Image Wand, which is integrated into apps like Notes, lets you use Image Playground to convert a sketch into a drawing, or to create an original drawing based on the context of the notes you have written. If you're ever annoyed that there isn't the right emoji for the occasion, you can create your own using Genmoji. Type in a short prompt, and it'll create an Apple-style emoji that resembles various household objects, specific dog and cat breeds, other animals you can think of, even specific people named in your photo library. If you have an iPhone 16, Visual Intelligence lets you look things up using the camera. Click and hold to launch it, and click it again to take a picture. You can ask ChatGPT to explain what you're looking at, or you can do a Google reverse image search to look up an object or a product. Other features are more context dependent. If you capture an event poster, you can quickly add the event to your calendar with relevant details, or if you capture a business like a restaurant or a store, you can quickly see their hours, their phone number, their menu, their website, and more. Siri is integrated with ChatGPT. If you ask a question that Siri can't answer, instead of saying, "Here's what I found on the web," it'll ask you if you want to pass the question along to ChatGPT to give you its answer. You can also ask ChatGPT what you're looking at. If you're reading an article, browsing the web, or watching a video, you can ask Siri, "What's this?" And it'll send the screenshot to ChatGPT to give you its explanation. If you subscribe to Apple News Plus, in addition to the daily crossword, mini crossword, and quartiles word games, there's a new daily Sudoku. In fact, there's actually 3 daily Sudokus: easy, moderate, and challenging. The harder levels start with fewer numbers on the board. If you're not familiar with the rules of Sudoku, it gives you a helpful tutorial at the beginning. You can tap on a square to select it, and tap a number on the keyboard to fill it in. You can also choose to take notes as well. There's an eraser to clear a number, and an undo button to undo the last move. Without any numbers on the board selected, you can tap on a number on the keyboard to see all of those numbers highlighted. And when you fill in 9 of any particular number, that number turns gray on the keyboard, so you know you're done with it. If you get stuck, or if you find out you've made a mistake, there are a few tools that can help. You can show all of the conflicts on the board, you can show all of the incorrect numbers, and if you want to give up, you can reveal the correct answers. Like all the games in Apple News Plus, it logs your statistics. You can see your fastest time, your average completion rate, and your daily streak. You can share your results and compete with your friends on Game Center. If you need help finding a lost item with an AirTag, like your luggage or your bag, you can get help from other people around you, like airport employees or friends and family. Unlike sharing an AirTag, this new Lost mode is temporary. It's not like Doug from the Chicago O'Hare Airport will be able to see where your purse is indefinitely. Open the Find My app, tap the Items tab, and tap on the AirTag in question. You'll see a new Lost AirTag section. Show Contact Info lets you add a phone number or email address that people can use to find you if they find your item first. Share Item Location gives someone else temporary access to track your AirTag. Maybe if the item is in an employees only section you don't have access to, you can let somebody else track your AirTag and retrieve it for you. In iOS 18.2, Apple's Mail app automatically sorts your inbox into 4 different categories. Primary is for your direct personal communication with other people. Transactions is for receipts and order confirmations. Updates is for notifications from online accounts and services. And promotions is for mailing lists, mass emails, and other newsletters you subscribe to. The new mail categories only appear on the iPhone. It's not on the Mac, which is slightly understandable considering the Mac app runs on a completely different code base, but it's also not on the iPad, which is a little weird. It's also not on the Vision Pro, in case anyone cared. If you want to send somebody a link to an article, but you don't need them to read the whole thing, they can just read a specific section halfway down the page, or even just a single quote or a single sentence, there's a new, easier way. In Safari, tap and hold to select a bit of text, then from the pop-up menu, swipe over and tap Copy Link with Highlight. You can paste that link in Messages, Notes, Mail, anywhere, and when somebody opens that link, Safari will scroll to that section and highlight that text in yellow. The iPhone 16 camera control has 3 new settings in iOS 18.2. The first lets you mimic the feature on a traditional camera where you can half-click the shutter button to lock the focus and exposure. In Settings, Camera Control, scroll down and enable AEAF Lock. Now you can half-click and hold the camera control and it'll lock the focus and exposure on whatever is in the middle of the frame. In Settings, Display and Brightness, at the bottom of the page there's a new option called Require Screen On. With the setting enabled, as it is by default, when your phone is locked, clicking the camera control once will wake up the screen, and clicking it a second time will open the camera. If you disable the setting, then you can launch the camera straight away with a single click of the camera control, no matter what. Finally, in Settings, Accessibility Camera Control, you can adjust the threshold for how fast the double-click gesture works. You can make it slow or even slower. If you have an iPhone 16 Pro, you can capture a multi-track audio recording in the Voice Memos app. This can come in handy if you want to record a quick music demo with multiple parts stacked on top of each other. You can self-harmonize a cappella, like a barbershop quartet, or you can layer multiple instruments playing on top of each other. After recording the first track, tap the Edit Recording button to the left with the icon of a waveform. Tap the plus button on the right to add a second track, and tap Record whenever you're ready. If you want to do one of the tracks over, you can rewind to the beginning, toggle between track 1 and 2, and tap Replace to do it over. You can even tap Playback Settings in the upper left and adjust the mix between track 1 and 2. Tap Done, and you can save your multi-layer track or save it to a separate recording. You can import it into Logic Pro on a Mac for advanced editing. Finally, here's a lightning round of smaller new features and improvements. In the Apple Intelligence Writing Tools, there's a new open-ended text prompt where you can describe a specific change you want to make to the text. You can also generate text from scratch using ChatGPT. You can put a volume slider back on your iPhone lock screen to adjust the volume using touch controls without unlocking your phone. To enable this, go to Settings, Accessibility, Audio and Visual, and enable Always Show Volume Control. If you like using Type to Siri, but you keep triggering the double tap the home bar gesture accidentally, there's a new option. You can add a Type to Siri control to Control Center. With this added, you can disable the gesture in Settings, Apple Intelligence, and Siri, talk and type to Siri by disabling Type to Siri. iOS 18.2 has an easier to use, all-in-one interface for managing which apps serve as your default web browser, password manager, email client, and more. You can find this in Settings, scroll down to Apps, and tap Default Apps. Some of the categories don't have any alternatives yet, but as Apple continues to be compelled in various parts of the world to make iOS more modular, this feature may become more useful over time. You can set a volume limit on your iPhone speakers if you want to protect your hearing health. This will only affect media like music, podcasts, and videos. Alarms and phone calls will still be able to use the maximum volume. You can find it in Settings, Sound and Haptics, Limit Volume, by enabling Limit Maximum Volume and adjusting the slider. In Settings, Apps, Safari, there's a new option to import and export your browsing history, bookmarks, and saved passwords between Safari and a different browser, if, for example, you'd like to check out an alternative. Apple Intelligence now supports regional dialects of English, localized to Australia, Canada, New Zealand, South Africa, and the United Kingdom. If you live in the European Union, you can now delete more of Apple's default apps from your phone, including Messages, Photos, Camera, Safari, and even the App Store itself. So those are all the new features in iOS 18.2. Remember to like and subscribe for more updates, and check out my other videos on 18.0 and 18.1. I'm Griffin Jones with Cult of Mac.